but the fucking penalties were disgusting.
Unbelievable pens.
Every penalty was just an absolute like
He's
world.
like,
on
no
the edge of your
names are
seat.
stepping up, and I'm like, who is this guy? And then it's like DeAndre Yedlins. I was like,
Yeah.
what the fuck?
Welcome to Pitch Masters, Wednesday, August 23rd. Today, we are going to be reviewing what the lads did last weekend. Of course, all of the games that occurred in match week 2, a little bit of the League Cup final with Mr. Messi. And of course, we have to talk about a crazy Merlin opening week. We're going to get into our Fantasy Premier League, some different changes the week ahead. And we're going to be introducing a new segment, listener questions, which we are super excited to get into. And then we'll wrap it up with Is Panini Dead? Let's go.
What's up, Benzini? Cheers to the old UK boys.
Okay, let me start it like this. I admit when I started seeing you on the daily, I told you that you was the only one, but shit, I was fucking with Katie. And maybe that's part of the reason she blocked me and tell everyone that she hate me. And maybe that's part of the...
All right, boys, what do we do this weekend? How do we spend our Friday through Sunday here?
Glory, glory, Tottenham Hotspur. Come on.
Tough weekend.
Tough weekend for sure.
The game that we most want to talk about is obviously the Tottenham Hotspurs versus Manchester United, as Mr. Sean liked to say. I would like to just give him the floor from the start here. Just talk about your feelings that you experienced this weekend. There was a lot of talk, including myself, leading up to the week, how the old Spurs were not going to be able to perform. Sean, the floor is yours.
Yeah, I mean, you saw the prediction video. You saw the confidence in Madison and Basuma. I'll continue to say the two names. And yeah, got the job done. Ange Ball is different. I mean, we didn't know after the first week whether or not United just had a fluke first game or they were like properly not it. And I think second week game was a testament that United needs a lot of work. So Spurs looked really good for a second game, especially without Kane. I mean, just working the ball from the back through the midfield through Basuma, Pape Sarr with a crazy man of the match game, and just overall crazy performance. Yeah, I was just really pleased to see that sort of Ange's tactics of really pushing the ball vertically through the midfield from those lower DMs into the cam and upwards is working, as opposed to like sort of the horizontal play we saw with Conte. So overall, very confident. Maybe in like the top 50 best days of my life. I don't know. I think it kind of ranks in there possibly. But yeah, we take the W, move on to game week 3 against hopefully an easy Bournemouth game, and sitting at 4 points feels great.
Top 50 days of your life. Come on now, Sean. That's a little bit of an exaggeration, to be honest. But yeah, watching the game, United looked terrible. Nothing in the attack. Garnacho, the fidget spinner, Anthony looked like a kid who just got done with high school practice running to Chipotle. Like, the guy is so bad. He needs to be off the pitch. I mean, Rashford looks scared. Can't do everything himself. I mean, we just looked really, really weak. And I said last week that the midfield was going to win the game, and there it was, Spurs dominating the midfield and pretty much had control of the game, from the start. So not a good feeling. Just have to move on and hope we don't drop more points next week.
Yeah. I'm not quite worried yet because we started last season a lot worse, actually. But the thing that worries me a lot is Rashford, actually. Very, very quiet. Kind of like the beginning of last season until he got in that hot streak. So he's got to get going for sure because we have nothing in attack at all. So those are my thoughts on that.
Yeah, no Garnacho did so, dude.
Yeah, but at least Garnacho's 19 years old. Rashford is, he's got to be in form at this point of the season. What is he, 25, 26 now?
Yeah, we have a lot of injuries too.
No.
So we'll see.
The thing with Garnacho is kind of that Pulisic effect, where it was for so long the team felt, and this is U.S. men's national team, where the team felt old, it felt dry. It was just kind of boring. And then you had Pulisic come in. He was young, he was exciting, and he like brought a lot of energy to the group, and it was like something fresh and new, and he made all the right decisions. But then after a while, he like just keeps making the right decisions, and you're waiting for him to kind of take that next step. But people kind of forget he's still like so young, and it's just going to take more time before he's going to like step into those big boy shoes, especially being in Man United, where you had obviously the phenom Ronaldo, who did just step in and was just an absolute animal kind of from the jump, So definitely from a legitimate viewership perspective, I would not be worried. I think Man U will take their time to figure it out. Rashford isn't really playing in his true 9 position. But from more of a fun perspective, you guys are absolutely fucked, and there's no chance you're going to be in the Champions League.
I just have to point out, did Alex just compare Garnacho to CR7? Just want to make sure that's on the book.
I said that people expect him to be like that because that's what CR7 was, and he's in a Manchester United kit. But
can we go back to the Garnacho thing?
Yes.
All right, cool. Because I had not watched Garnacho pretty much at all in for an entire game. No preseason. I don't recall much of his gameplay last year. This is one of the problems in the soccer collecting hobby is these names pop up because one guy who saw one game of one player starts spreading the word. And all of a sudden, you get a couple other people to rally behind this take. And then out of nowhere, it's the valuable rookie, right? I mean, I know Garnacho and Julian are promising. Now we've got this guy Guler. We had Kvara. I'll be honest, I've never seen Kvara play a game in my life. All right. Same with this guy Guler and Merlin. It's like Garnacho is all on that same playing field with all these big rookies, and they hold such prominence in the card collecting hobby. And a game that took place on Saturday, the game that took place between Tottenham and United, sort of what does that mean kind of for Garnacho? Like, is this something where it's like he's so overhyped that now if he starts to play like this with sort of inconsistencies and isn't what everybody expects him to be, I mean, is this going to have like a big effect on the immediate hype, or will people still be, 2 years from now? Yeah, I mean, I guess the thing is, I watch a game like that, and then when I go on to Whatnot, I don't really want this in, to be honest, but so we can recoup. But when I do go on to Whatnot and see that, it's like when I pull a Garnacho, I'm like infinitely less happy. Maybe you can keep this in, find a way to cut around this. Sorry about that. But you know what I mean? Like a game like that is so deflating for me. And then I watched Julian Alvarez score a banger against Newcastle, and I'm like, holy shit, give me some more Julians. But it's crazy how 1 week like that is influencing sort of.
I think it also depends on your fandom. Like, there's a lot of Manchester United fans in the U.S., so obviously I get more excited when I pull a Garnacho than I pull Julian Alvarez because I hate Man City. So it depends on that too.
And I think that Man City just yeah, and I think that Man City truthfully is just like an insane team, man. Like when I was just looking, and we'll get into this later, like the FPL team, when I was looking at all the Manchester City options, like Pep has so many options that he is just able to rotate through. Ten Hag is like going with the same starting 11 and like kind of has a couple guys here and there. But when you match it up against Man City, not to say that Man U won't get there and can't compete with Man City by the time it gets to the end of the season, but it's just different levels. So Julian has a little bit more of a luxury to kind of play free and is getting, a lot better style of play and opportunities from, his teammates that are surrounded with him, and has Erling Haaland on the field that opens up things so much more for him compared to, like you're talking about, fidget spinner, Garnacho, where we obviously look at him and like put him on a pedestal, but, realistically opposing defenders may not be as intimidated to the space that Garnacho, takes in, or fidget spinner takes in. So he's not going to have as, much space to work with, blah, blah, blah. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, Anthony's really starting to wear thin on me. I'm not going to lie.
He's like a chicken with his head cut off.
Oh,
crisp.
And he just also disappears for like 75 minutes of the 90, and we'll do one flash thing like 30 seconds and then disappear again.
You know what I don't like about players like Anthony? It's
a flash player.
But though it's there's a difference between being a flash player with sort of receiving the ball and going immediately. He has like this weird part where there's the reception, he pauses, and it's like without him saying or doing any movement, though, it's kind of like all right, this is like the calm before my storm, before I do my madness. And like he receives the ball, starts very slowly into it, and then begins his
It's
bullshit.
like little
honestly,
like trickly feet dance.
Yeah.
They're waiting
I mean,
for him to make a
Yes,
move.
I was gonna
type
say
deal.
that. Touched the ball a couple times.
And I think it's like defenders are just catching on to kind of the theatrics. So yeah, bad haircut as well, and bleach.
I actually fuck with the bleach. Not gonna lie.
Really, I like the
Yes, I
bleach,
do.
but not the haircut with the
Nacho,
bleach.
it looks good. I don't know about Anthony. It's like full on, like almost like white, like grandma white.
That's I'm gonna have to grab a photo. We can throw it up when I have my bleach there. We can throw it up on the pod.
I need to see that.
Yes.
Yes, that's when I met my girlfriend, so she fell in love with me.
Fulham versus Brentford, 3-0 loss. Brentford Bees, the giant killers, going up against the Cottagers. Not a good look for the American boys that are on the back line there. I am continuing to be more and more concerned about what that team is going to face. I thought that they were going to just take steps forward, but it seems like the Saudi Arabia drama that they're facing with Mitrovic is kind of hurting them. Do you guys think that they're going to be able to dig themselves out of this hole and get it figured out over the span of the league, or are we looking at relegation battle for our old USA boys?
No, and I love Tim Ream, but I said it on the first podcast. They might get relegated. You lose Mitrovic, that's basically all their goals there. I have to say, though, the Tim Ream yellow card that he got ejected for, total BS. He was going for the ball. The guy stepped in front of him.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was I mean, like, I watched the game, and like Fulham could have, put one or two in, and they didn't. Then Diop in the back just makes like one of the worst passes I've ever seen in my entire life. And Wisa picks it up, dribbles the goalie, and scores, and now they're down 1-0. Ream picks up a yellow card, and then Ream picks up a second yellow card, and they give away a soft pen. There it is, 2-0, and then at the end of the game, they're down a man. They sweated across the box, 3-0. Just, I mean, it was a glorious win for the Bees. But Fulham, I think they're going to be fighting relegation for the whole season.
Yeah. And you really want him to stay up. Tim Ream most recently was like asked in some interview about, his hopes of wanting to play in the Copa and obviously the World Cup. And the big thing that he talked about was like, well, if I'm playing for Fulham in the Premier League, then you would hope, that he's playing at a level where he's going to be able to continue to be a part of that roster. And it's like, I mean, if you're putting all your chips in that basket, which I think is a very legitimate case to make, it's like you better hope that they do stay up, because I think we all are Tim Ream truthers. Like, we love the dude, and I do agree with Steve, and I'm sure the rest of you do as well, that he is one of our best center back options, and will probably continue to be.
He is the best option.
He's one of the best center backs in the Premier League.
Yeah,
he is.
So
statistically,
we just got to hope that they can figure it out, man, because especially I'm a Jedi lover. Like, I love Jedi, and I think he's a beast. He's got a lot of things that obviously he's got to grow on, but definitely do not want to see those boys go down. Chelsea versus West Ham, the old Irons taking the dub 3-1. The $1 billion boys not looking too good at the start of the season, boys. What do we think about the old Chelsea Blues? Are they that bad, or is West Ham just that much better without Declan Rice?
Just a shit show, complete shit show. Caicedo debut to forget. Enzo Fernandez, you got your $100 million man missing a penalty pitifully, and then you got your $100 million man conceding a penalty to put you down 3-1. So yeah, Todd continues to spend as well. They just picked up a Serbian keeper, I think, today for a 7-year contract to 2031. Yeah, they're just in a huge problem. We saw first game Liverpool. Oh, maybe Chelsea are gonna be good, but you can't go week 2 and lose 3-1 to West Ham, especially when they lose a guy. Their youngster Rocky Aguerd
man too
got the red card. Yeah, so
for like 20 minutes,
atrocious.
right?
Yeah, for a good portion of the second half.
Yeah.
I mean, Chelsea is just it's like when you go to the grocery store and you're hungry and you buy everything and you don't know what's going to work well together. That's exactly how I feel about Chelsea. You go, you just grab every single ingredient and you hope you can make something good. And they just haven't found like the right recipe yet. I mean, hopefully Pochettino can, use those ingredients, But I mean, there's still a lot of pressure on him when you have like $1 billion in players. Like you can't play every single player as much as they should be playing to progress their career and like, live out their potential. Like a lot of the players, like we saw this year, they're just going to get offloaded either at the transfer window in January or at the end of the season.
Yeah,
I mean, what I'm thinking is kind of similar to Ben. You can pick all the so-called best young players in the world. Doesn't mean they're gonna mesh together. Doesn't mean the team's gonna automatically be great. And obviously, you see that with Chelsea to a T.
Yeah. No, for me, I think Madueke. I don't know if you pronounce it that, whatever it is. He was probably like for me the most disappointing. Actually, like I saw a few of those balls in from the right side, just like atrocious. I mean, forget like the big names as well, but guys like Madueke. I mean, Mudryk actually was pretty solid. I feel like he was he at least had what seemed to be some drive, but everything felt flat, sort of just outplayed by like even Pablo Fornals when he got subbed on. Dude was a machine. He was everywhere on the pitch, and then you've got like all these guys with big price tags that were just terrible. So
what about Antonio with that goal as well?
Dude,
That
was
was old man still got it.
yeah, Macon, man.
How old is he? Is he 30 plus?
35
Is he really?
around there. He's
wow.
up there. He's definitely up there.
There's no way Antonio is 35.
I'm
thinking
right
he's
now.
like no older than 31 years old.
No. He's older than that. Hold on.
All right, but let's talk about the goal. I mean, like that's just
33.
like lackluster defending from Desasi. Guy is just like not even fighting to like go block the shot. Like he knew it was coming. He's jogging back. Like it very weak effort in my opinion from Desasi.
Yeah, it was just kind of a clinical like striker finish, like literally just taking on a through ball, picks his head up, sees that he's got space and time, and just absolutely cranks it into the bottom corner. I mean, that it was just all around absolute dominating performance. And I have to say, as a Liverpool fan who is absolutely butthurt about losing Caicedo, I have to say I feel a little bit vindicated or justified. Coming on your first debut and giving up a pen like that is just not, with the drama that went with it, that's just not how you want to start your career. And I really have no ill will towards the dude, so I do hope that he turns it around. Seems like a great kid, great guy. But man, Chelsea continues to be a dumpster fire, like you guys kind of talked about. I thought they were taking good steps because they unloaded all of this baggage, and then you're like, okay, they made a good signing. All right, there's a good signing. But then it's like, all right, there's another signing and another signing. And like Sean's talking about the Serbia guy, but they've had Slonania or whatever the MLS keeper is. Steve, you know what I'm talking about?
Slovenia.
Yeah. So
Nina,
I mean,
actually.
that's why I hate when our American players go to a club like Chelsea. Can't blame them ever, because like Lord Almighty, that's the dream to be able to go to the Premier League like that. And they're getting high level training. But it's like, dude, he's just going to get loaned out to some club when he
already did, actually. I forget where he is, but he's somewhere.
He should be playing every day, man. It's like, I don't know.
Yeah. No, it's actually really, really remarkable that Manchester United managed to escape the weekend without being the most laughable team. I don't know how, but
I think either Man U or Chelsea might be the new Spurs, to be honest.
I don't know. I like Ten Hag too much to think that United's just going to fall apart completely. What he walked into was a bad situation. We did pretty well last year.
Yeah, but we're talking about this year. Last year is last year.
It is indeed. And who was the one that authorized the Mason Mount deal? That is the real question, is who allowed for that man to step into the team. Now, I will say I just watched the Peter Crouch documentary. Highly recommend it to any of our viewers that are watching it. It's on Amazon Prime. It's an absolute beauty. And it took, Peter Crouch like 19 games as a striker to score his first goal with Liverpool. And after he scored his first goal, it was floodgates open. I'm by no means comparing the two, but realistically, it's easy to hate on Mason Mount, but you get into a new team. Maybe it's just going to take him a little bit of time. It's not like anybody else is really performing out of their mind on that team. So maybe they just need to kind of gel with each other. The new kid, Højbjerg, he comes in, push Rashford out to the left. Is that his name?
Did you just say Højbjerg?
I was going to say Pierre Emile.
Rasmus Højlund.
Was going to look to you guys to be able to step on that for me. Yeah, Højbjerg is what I said, but Højlund steps into the striker role and then allows Rashford to go out left. have Garnacho coming off of the bench where he belongs, and then we'll go from there.
I mean, we had a lot of shit shows this weekend, but you know who was not a shit show this weekend? Inter Miami FC.
Oh, baby.
Yeah, baby.
That was by far the most entertaining match of the weekend.
Not,
Yeah,
Not
it
even
definitely
close.
was. Yeah.
Yes.
Those penalties at the end, like forget the actual game itself, like the Messi goal, the last second sort of fiasco with Campagna and the post,
Oh,
but the fucking penalties were disgusting.
unbelievable pens.
Every penalty was just an absolute like world.
He's like,
Sitting on the
no
edge of your
names are
seat.
stepping up, and I'm like, who is
Yeah.
this guy? And then it's like DeAndre Yedlins. I was like,
Yeah.
what the fuck?
Literally, bro, you're sitting there and you're like trying to analyze the faces of them. And personally, for me, I'm sitting there and I'm like, oh no, I don't know if he's got this one. And then they bury it, and the next one comes up. It's just that walk, though. Like in that moment, like that walk from the half line all the way up to that penalty spot, and you got the goalie just sitting there with the ball, probably yapping at you a little bit. It just shows the mental fortitude of like those guys in general. But you can't get caught taking a penalty with the old goalie cap on, because that was the most atrocious penalty.
Did you see him like gassing himself up before he went to?
I don't know
before
what he
went
was
to
saying. I thought he was like
Yeah.
trying to cast a spell.
That
or
guy
something.
kind of seemed like a goofball. Like the
Yeah.
entire game, the helmet alone, or the fucking hat, whatever you want to call
Can't
it.
hit on the
It's
One of
helmet,
you,
bro.
Petter Crouch.
Petr Cech.
Yeah.
Petr Cech.
Petr Cech.
Petr Cech.
Petr Cech would have hit that penalty. That dude did not hit that penalty.
Well,
That
you
was-
know what it reminded me of? It was like, and I, honest to God, I'm not saying this to Sean United more, all right? But it reminded me of the Europa League final. I think it was the Europa League final when Villarreal played Manchester United, and it went to the keepers, right? It was David De Gea.
Yeah.
Exactly. De Gea had to take the shot. I mean, I've only seen that twice in my life where it went through the entire cycle, and it came down to the two keepers, and one keeper sort of blows it for the team. So it's kind of an imitation of that, which was kind of crazy to see.
Yeah, but
I
Messi
think there
is
was
just
a
unreal.
story.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Messi's
Like that goal
ridiculous.
is just like what do you like? How do you can't? It's unreal. Like it's you
Scripted
still have to
shows,
produce
bro.
that.
And that his celebration, bro, like I literally can like close my eyes and dream about, like just only dream about trying to be in that situation. Like the joy that team feels, the fans feel when he's like running to the corner and you see his like classic arms up where he's smiling at his teammates and they're all just running next to each other. He's truthfully going to change the game here, and it's gonna just continue to grow and grow and grow, and I really hope that they just continue to find success, because that would be the worst thing in the world if they step back into the MLS and for some reason it just falls apart because they had a little bit of fun in the mid-league tournament. But
I don't see that.
Yeah, I definitely still see
I
them
can't.
competing like at a high level.
14 games left, they're in last place.
They have
Do you-
18 points.
Do you guys so do you guys think that they're gonna, I mean, all they need to do is get in, right?
They
Like,
have to win. I did some analysis. If they want to get in, they have to be around the 40-point mark.
They can
pretty
only
much
lose
have
like
to
2
be-
games or something
They
like
have
that.
they can only really drop like 4 points.
Wow.
They have to be pretty much flawless if they want to make it.
and this is going to be the most American comparison ever, but it's almost like kind of like a LeBron James vibe, where it's like it really doesn't matter what seed he was at certain points in his career. It's like as long as he was just in the playoffs, like he's going to have a really good shot at making to the final. So it's like, I think if Messi can just drag that team with Jordi Alba and Busquets and the rest of the lads that are starting to pick it up, it's going to be a pretty it's going to be a pretty electric
Kamaski.
MLS playoffs this year.
Beast.
Messi class act, handing the captain's armband to DeAndre Yedlin because he was, the incumbent captain, and just pure class on his part there.
Yeah.
That was.
I mean, Messi has experienced glory in so many ways, and super unselfish. And even though it really just is him, Jordi Alba, and Busquets single-handedly, and their contributions, it's just ridiculous. So for him to do that,
I do have to say though, Miami built this team with Messi in mind. It was just insert Messi here and they're ready to go. So you'd say, I know Messi obviously is making the team perfect now, but it was built with him in mind. That's why they were shit before he came. They just literally need Messi.
Yeah, it almost gives me a bit of frustration just for the league in general, how it's operating, because we had the conversation previously, but it's like if we just had a semblance of some of these guys coming over more and more and more, this league would be so electric, man. But we will see what the MLS continues to bring. We are very thrilled to have Messi in the old states carrying the team and the league right now. That's for sure. Real quick break for an ad, and then we will jump over to our 2023 Merlin review. This episode of Pitch Masters is brought to you by your business. Guys, if you are looking to take your business to the next level, then look no further than Pitch Masters. We have ad space available on every piece of content that we are going to be releasing, not only through this YouTube channel, but our Instagram, and most importantly, our Whatnot streams. That is a collective 30 plus hours amongst the four of us. If you are interested in getting involved with Pitch Masters and growing your business, then please reach out to us on Instagram. We'll be happy to get involved with any of you guys. So look forward to hearing from you. 2023 Merlin, boys, came out last week. We all stream, we all break. Steve is obviously a little bit more of the singles gremlin over here, but he even dipped into the madness a little bit. How do we feel about the product release last week, boys?
Quality control is not good.
Yeah.
Yeah, the QC is not the greatest. Not the greatest from Topps. I do like the stock on the cards though. It does feel a lot different than the chrome counterpart.
Merlin always has a thick stock.
I think the autos are really nice. How the inclusion of some of the legends, some of the new rooks like Mudryk Matchball, and I haven't seen a Messi auto yet. I'm still waiting to see one. They haven't surfaced. The Renaissances are chill, but I mean, if there's due to the amount of blasters there are going to be in the world. I mean, if you got a Renaissance, sell that shit right now as you hear this podcast, or whenever you get that Renaissance, sell it immediately, because as soon as those blasters are coming out, there's going to be so many base Renaissances that are going to be populating on eBay and breaks and singles and everything. The ones that are going to hold the true value are going to be the red, and like I think it's red and below. I think it's out of 5 and below.
I think it's just red and 1 of 1. Is there not a 5?
I would say if you are looking to invest in a Renaissance, get the red or below.
Yeah, I mean, I give it an 8 out of 10. I think Topps is really, really maximizing the Merlin blaster market by adding these 350s and 2 out of 99 cards. We saw previous years the purple blasters and the red ones, they retained value so well beyond release because max was 275. You can get the same numbered cards and blasters as in the hobby, which is like different between like Chrome Light, for instance, and the hobby. But Topps really trying to suck everyone for everything they have by doing the 350 and 299. So I do worry about just overall Merlin, sort of how it's going to hold value with those types of cards. They're pretty much going to be, I think, worthless in a couple months' time, sadly, because they're just going to be overproduced. But the match balls are sick. So that for me is definitely the highlight.
I think
sell your Ghoulier base now.
Yeah, sell your Ghoulier base now. But I guess the positive is if Ghoulier is only in the Merlin set, like those numbered cards are going to be valuable.
True. Yeah.
So I don't know if they'll put Fenerbahce in finest because that's only Champions League and Europe League. But were they in the Champions League?
They could put him with Madrid though, and then just Photoshop it.
Yeah, they could. They could put him in like a training kit, but I do think that the Ghoulier hunt is almost like the 𝗪𝗖𝗘 hunt from last year, where like his cards are still holding like very strong value because that's his only rookie card.
That's what Merlin does so well. You get these teams like Nantes, right? You're not going to get it in any other set.
Maccabi, baby, let's go.
Yeah, exactly.
I was going to say that.
You're not going to see these names. Was it Pirio or Piriot, however you pronounce it? These are rookies. I think it's the St. Union guy. You're not going to see
St.
rookies.
Union,
Yeah. It's like these guys aren't going to have any other rookies. So that's where Merlin does really kind of exceed, which is nice. But
I just think that the Merlin like label itself, like I love like the Merlin logo. I just think like when I think back to the Jude Bellingham rookie, Kamavinga rookie year with Pedri and them, like when I look at those rookie cards and I'm scrolling through eBay, between Topps Finest or Merlin, I just love the look of the Merlin. Like Topps overall compared to Panini, like just it like when you hold those base, like it just feels like more sturdy. Like I know we're talking about quality control. Like some of the cards are obviously banged up and that needs to be better. But when you hold a Topps card compared to like some flimsy World Cup card, yeah, it just doesn't feel the same. And I think that they've really like the Renaissance last year, like it just wasn't it for me. And like even though those will start to lose value just because of them being available in the blasters, I still think they look a lot like prettier and better. And even the match balls seem to just have a little bit more something to them.
I do like the match balls significantly more than last year. I feel like they're not as heavy. And I also think that they made them smaller almost. And last year the card I think was heavier. It felt like almost like too bulky. So I do like the match ball more this year. There's only 10 people on the list. I mean, why are you putting Timo Werner on a match ball? That's like beside the point.
I do want to know like who makes those
Jorginho
decisions.
had one last one, didn't he?
He has one this one too. Jorginho.
Yeah, like why are these guys on like the main chase in a product that we're spending thousands of dollars on? Like it should be like the top players from every like there should be a Benzema match ball. Like why isn't there one? Or
we need to try to
ball.
find someone that we can get on that's worked for those companies that can tell us like what goes into making those decisions. Like who is
they have
deciding?
the sticker.
It's
the sticker's there and the match ball's unassociated, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah, exactly. I was just
at least they
say.
made it. Yeah, at least they made the
That's
match balls
crazy.
this year. They're colored. They look so much better. If it's going to be not associated, at least make it a nice not associated patch or match ball or whatever you put into the card. So they did well with that. But if you've got the stickers of all these names, just throw it on there. 10 names that we actually want.
Yeah. Just before we move on from the Merlin, speaking with 𝗪𝗘𝗘𝗞, so obviously you sell those refractors, you sell those base all day, every day, twice on a Tuesday. Are you guys going to be holding some of those higher ends? Like, I pulled an out of 150 auto. Are you throwing that boy on eBay and just trying to maximize your value right now? Or are you going to just wait a little bit and see if he actually starts to play?
I sell it immediately. I still sell it immediately because in say like 2 months, like the hype is going to go down. So you're going to be able to like capitalize a little bit in a few months when people aren't focusing on him. Then there's like really no more releases after like what mid September. So I think that you should sell everything of his immediately and then wait like a month and then buy double the amount that you sold it for. If you truly are a collector and you feel like he's going to be like the next thing, personally, I think he could be like the next Ozil. He's really good.
And how much do his cards go for?
But
nothing.
Exactly. So Ozil didn't have, but also cards in the soccer world back then when he was a rookie they're way different now.
I do have to say, I've been collecting for like 10 years. I probably said that already. But I can tell you one thing, prospecting, no matter what sport, sell when they're hot and get out. Because it doesn't matter what they turn into. They'll never be worth more than they are in the beginning. Never.
Yeah. I mean, you look at a guy like KDB now who has EPL select autos. This is one of the best midfielders in the entire world, if not the singles market's dead right now. We got KDB autos going for like $30, base KDB autos from EPL Select, a Primo product. So that'll be interesting to see how that sort of develops come late September into the fall, where we finally are going to be able to take a breath of fresh air without all these back-to-back releases. And hopefully we see sort of a little bit of a recovery in the singles market, because right now it's brutal and it does not reconcile with the cost of wax. So that's a big problem we're facing.
Fantasy Premier League, boys, pitch masters, the whole reason we are here. Quick recap of where the boys sit. Mr. Ben Prince Benzini, CF, sitting in the 21st overall ranking, 37th overall. Got to give a shout out to the adjacent member, Jeremy Fisher, Mr. Downtown Soccer Cards, sitting at 37th overall. Big Ange baby Sean Reardon at 62 overall. Steve Barbado, 8s and above only, at 150 overall.
How many points you got this week, Steve?
15. It was atrocious. Tim Reams' fucking ejection didn't help.
Oh,
no, you got 17 points this week, I
17?
thought.
All right.
Oh,
but
my God.
I went
that
from
is
being
an atrocity.
31st to 100 and let that sink in. 150 from 31st.
That is an atrocity.
I don't know what the hell happened. It was like a perfect storm of shit.
Well,
Ugh.
don't worry, because you've got close company. Mr. Dapper Badger, 5 spots behind you with a crisp 37 all points at 155. And Dapper Collection sitting at 226 overall.
We're
But
not
we
worried about
just
Dapper
use
Collections.
our wild card to completely
Bro.
revamp the squad. We had to do it. Can't sit at the bottom like that and think that we're going to be able to make 1 or 2 transfers over the coming weeks and be able to fix this monstrosity of a team that I've created. So we had to completely axe everything. But bottom of the league, Oliver Sanchez, Pupusa, Revuelta, FC at 249. Pupusa, what are we doing, brother? Sitting at the top, or near the top rather, manager of the week. Shout out Joseph Baker. I'm almost positive he's invested in quite a few of our streams. I know personally he has supported me quite a bit. Went with 59 points overall, did not use any boosters. So shout out to the lad Joseph Baker on the come up at 17th overall, 125 points overall. What are we thinking for the week ahead with Fantasy Premier League, boys?
I actually think somebody did stronger than 59 points. Somebody got 81 points this week.
But did they use a bench boost?
They did not use anything. They are in
Gotcha.
first place in the league right now.
Who's that?
His name is USPS. That's his team name. Ethan Rodas.
Yeah, there's been a bit of an
Alright.
update after
After
the
game
bonus
hate
points,
those
because there's the
update
bonus
things.
points where the best performer gets 3, 2, 1. So that changes things as well. So yeah,
Well,
he-
Yeah, because I was definitely 15 last time I checked.
Yeah,
'Cause
big shout out
yeah.
to Ethan with 81 points. He had Mbuembo and Odegaard in the side, along with Alvarez and Saka and Estupinian. So well done, Ethan. You are sitting on top of the league, and you are 15 points clear of second place. So well done, bro.
that is manager of the week status right there. Am I a fool for already going to my wild card, or was it needed when I'm sitting in the not even the bottom half? I'm sitting in the bottom portion of the table. Was it a good move or a bad move for me to completely refresh everything?
I think it was a bad move still.
yeah, it's very
There's gonna
early.
be some weeks where you are going to have like double match weeks, and you might have to revamp the whole team because City won't play for 3 weeks.
Yeah.
So, I mean, maybe in the short term to like make up points and look respectable. I don't think it was smart.
I don't think
Yeah.
so either. There's going to be injuries where you're going to have to be making changes. I mean, the good news is you still get your free transfer, and if it's terrible situation, you can take the 4-point hit to make extra transfers. So you always have that. But yeah, I mean, it's a
And
bold
what-
move on week 3.
It was bold, but my thought process is one, like I said from the beginning, I had no idea what I was doing going into this. Trent potentially going to be hurt going forward. Tyrone Mings out for the season. John Stones, even if he does come back, look at that Manchester City back line. So I was really just needing, in my personal opinion, to really revamp it and try to think that I can look ahead to what is going to be coming, where Man City might not play in a game for a week or 2, and try to use my transfers advantageously when that point comes along. But certainly time will tell with that. But who are you guys looking to ahead to have a big week on your team this coming match week?
Let's see some of the matchups. I do think that I have to make another transfer. I made such a very mediocre mistake in using my free transfer way too early in the week. I signed Reece James, and he gets injured 3 hours after I sign him to the team. So that's complete dust. I have to start Gabriel, who doesn't even start again. But hey, if you got Gabriel on the side, I'm going to say it again. Keep him in your team because Tomiyasu will be out next week. So he has to play. He's got to start. And if he doesn't, then I'm toast.
Oh, man. And while you guys are looking at your team, just to speak on that, I mean, that red card that Tomiyasu received today, or the double yellow, was complete. I mean, that was BS, man. Arsenal are definitely lucky to come out of that game with a win, 1-0. But Crystal Palace gave them everything they had. That's a fun team, Crystal Palace. I think they're going to kind of continue to work and figure it out, especially when they get Elise back in the squad.
Yeah,
I
I mean,
don't-
You want to go say? I was gonna say, just speaking of the red cards, this was like a weird weekend. We had the McAllister undeserved red
Oh
card,
my God, bro.
the Ream, the 𝗪𝗖𝗖𝗘𝗥, and then there were more red cards. I think there were like 5 or something. Aguerd for West Ham. So I don't know if this is just like the new refereeing plan or what's going on, or,
Well,
or it's just a
personally,
shambolic weekend for refereeing.
some of them were double yellows, and they're putting
Yeah,
they're
true.
putting so much power in these refs' hands with, and I get it, the time wasting, you know, calling for calls from the referees. Like the commentators love to talk about it, man. Like, I just hate how much that these players are going up and demanding yellow cards and just showing a fake yellow card or whatever. But it's like, dude, that's a part of their job. That's what they're getting paid for. Like, you're gonna get reamed out by these players. And when basically what happened with 𝗪𝗖𝗖𝗘𝗥 is Kai Havertz was wasting time, and then somebody else was wasting time, but then they finally just dropped the ball, which is traditional of a forward to do, to drop the ball for the outside back. And so when he finally gets the ball and is looking around to make his pass, the ref is always like, already like, all right, well, they've been taking too much time. So then 𝗪𝗖𝗖𝗘𝗥, gets the yellow for everything else that happened previously, which then obviously leads to a complete dive by Ayew when he literally just like brushed him with the back of his hand when he was trying to turn and go. So I don't know. I think it'll find its level, you hope, but I think the refs just have a pretty big emphasis of power where they're giving I love how like the added time is like 7 minutes. It's like free soccer. Like we're getting way more, but like the amount of yellows that are being dished out just feel ridiculous.
A lot of soft and unwarranted yellows. It's not like Sunday League, like where you're fighting against like Joe Schmo who just got off the couch. It's like, these are like professionals who are like entitled to an opinion too. So like I do understand that some of it is just like unwarranted and like they can become crybabies and they're trying to eliminate that. But I mean that happens in every sport. Like look at basketball, they're flopping everywhere and they're still getting calls. So that's all I have to say about that.
I'm not a fan of the like 7-9 minute added time at the end of the games. It's just not soccer. It always bothered me. Like whatchamacallit, CONCACAF has been doing this for years now with the fucking 10-11 minute like absurd added time at the end of the games. I hate it. It's just not the way it should be. 5 minutes is like max for me.
No, I like it. I think it's good. It was weird, but 10-11 minutes, if that's what it takes, it's the actual time that was injury time or stoppage time. Why not be precise about it?
If
I know
it's
it doesn't
an actual injury and stuff, like
yeah.
maybe, but not when it's like 7-9 minutes because of substitutions and things like that.
Yeah, I mean, the game for so long has been tactical in that sense where you're making additional substitutions, but now when you are adding that extra slot, that extra slot with the 5 people. Actually, no, it's still only 3 slots. So
that was 5.
Yeah,
That's
but
5.
it has to be done within 3 different sort of
You would have to do like
rotations.
2 for one of them.
Okay.
So, but the thing is, I think they are timing like literally when the ball goes out of bounds now, and they're keeping track of that with a watch. So
yeah, I can't stand that.
Yeah, it's gonna change tactics. It's gonna make teams fight till the end. Maybe we don't see as much sit back and keep taking the pressure, and teams really going for that second goal more often, especially the teams that are more defensively sound and that they get their goal and they sit back. That might change now. When you're adding 20% more game time per half.
It hasn't been like a big like burden on a team. I don't know if that's the right way to describe it, but it will definitely make a team pay at some point. It's going to be a big talking point where it's like maybe it shouldn't have been 7 minutes, 8 minutes, and it should have been more along the lines of like 4 or 5, and some team's going to get an insane game winning goal or game tying goal, and it's going to be a big talking piece. So
like the 103rd minute to win it.
Yeah, it's definitely wild, man, and it's going to put a lot of pressure on the managers because it's certainly a lot of soccer to be played. I mean that is like so much extra soccer when it gets all the way up to that 8 to 10 minute mark just in that first half. So it's definitely going to be something to watch.
Like 25% more of the game almost.
Yeah. The Champions League teams that are putting in those minutes, like substitutions are just going to be so key now, having that squad depth, because those extra 15, 20 minutes on the end, what it does to your legs for recovery as well. It's going to be interesting to see that. Who knows?
New segment alert. Listener questions. We had quite a few people submit some questions. The boys are going to listen and give you the answers that you so desperately want. Tekker's cards, a favorite amongst the Pitchmaster boys here. Who's the most overrated player in FPL? Not worth their price, etc.
It's a good question.
That's a good question.
Right
was-
now, Marcus Rashford, 100%. Not worth 9.5 million. I think that's what he is. He's playing like a $6 million player. Don't think he's worth.
I'd have to chime in and top you on that one because you're talking about a team that you love. 𝗪𝗖𝗖𝗘𝗥 at the $12.5 million price tag. You should be getting Holland level production out of that. And it is nowhere near close to that. So I would have to go with 𝗪𝗖𝗖𝗘𝗥 is not showing the love to the users.
Yeah, I mean, Salah, though, he's on penalties, right? Which is good. I mean, the last couple Premier League seasons before Haaland last year, he was like the top guy for like year after year, constantly producing. Then Haaland came in, it was different. But I mean, KDB, actually, he's injured now, so that's not it. Yeah, I don't know.
KDB was the first person that popped into my head thinking
Yeah.
about like when I was going to pick a team, and I was like, that seems like a lot. But also Rashford, like Ben said, that's a no-brainer. That's way too much for somebody that disappears for like 8 matches in a row and stuff like that.
Question number 2, J13Hugs _ New York Cards. Shout out the old New York lads. Who is the best player in the Prem, not in the Big Six, that would make it into every Big Six team?
It's another very good question. Wow.
I'll start it off. I think James Ward-Prowse would be absolutely electric in the Liverpool midfield, and I would be hard-pressed to say that he would not make any other team that is in the Big Six. I don't know what you consider the Big Six, like original six or people that finish in the top 6. But I think James Ward-Prowse would be a great candidate for that.
Yeah, are we considering Newcastle a Big
I
Six?
was just gonna say
Newcastle
has so much class
Yeah,
in their
I was gonna
entire
say
squad.
Tonali, Isak.
I think when he's saying the Big Six, I would assume he means like the old
Traditional.
school Big
Okay.
Six. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
What do you think, Steve? Who's making it into the top 6 that's outside there?
I mean, I think Alexander Isak for sure. I mean, I'd love him on Manchester United, that's for sure. So that's what I think.
Ben, who you got? Give us a nice little dark horse boy, someone that may not have the oil money yet.
I might have to go with one of the Brighton boys. That's probably have to go with Mitoma. Honestly, I love watching
was
that
another one
guy
I thought
play, and he's just like pure class. He's like
It's
never in a
crazy,
rush,
bro. It's so
And
good. It's beautiful to watch.
Like I know he's a little older. He's not like young. He's like what 23, 24, maybe even older than that. But he is like proper class. Like I could easily see him like starting in any top 6 team right now.
I agree. I was
Go
also going to say Mitoma, but since Ben said that, I'll pick a different name that I wish was still in the Premier League, who was one of my favorite players to watch. The way he would just go straight at defenders, Alan St-Maximin. We lost a gem with Alan St-Maximin after we went to Saudi Arabia. He was such a baller, and you put him in any other top 6 side, and he is starting every single game and producing like game-changing moments. So
I loved watching ASM, dude. That
So
guy, his
good.
hair, he'd be like, whoa, 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 dude,
Yeah.
unbelievable. He's great. I miss him for already.
Yeah. Anthony is like an ASM wannabe.
Yeah,
That's
not even
let's not talk
close.
about the fidget spinner.
All right, question number 3. Will Tottenham make a top 4 run this year, boys? Sean, we'll start it with you.
It's just way too early to tell. Obviously, I'm on a big high, and we're not playing the Champions League, which really might prove to be advantageous. So, my gut after week 2 is saying yes, but so many games to be played. But I'm going to say we are going to, and because I trust in Ange. That is my answer, my brief answer.
Man,
I
you
say
boys,
they're
what do you
definitely gonna compete. I think before the season started, I had them as possible Europa, like on fringe. So why not compete for a top 4 spot?
Yeah, I mean, after this week, they had a very good game. So don't want to put all my ducks in a row right now, but I mean, if they can keep up that form and somehow squeak in a goal and win the midfield every game, you know, they could go on like a 5-game winning streak probably. And
The thing is,
put them in a very strong position to, make top four.
I mean, the problem, yeah, I agree, but the problem for every traditional top six this year will just be the constant pests of Brighton and Newcastle. Can easily see one of the two just like destroying some top six teams' hopes,
Got a favorable set of matches coming up next. You guys are at Bournemouth, which is, not going to be a tough barn to go into, but you would assume that you guys get business taken care of. At Burnley, and then you bring it, you got a game in the EFL Cup in between there, but then you're back at home with Sheffield United, and then it gets into a little bit of a double back-to-back weekend of Arsenal and Liverpool. But you think that you get, 3 out of 3 wins there, you're going to be sitting pretty high and mighty up in the table early on in the season.
Yeah, I mean, it's what happened last year. We started off strong. I think we were like, 16 points through 5 games or something like that, or 6 games, 5 wins and a draw, and then you know what happened. So as long as we're not Spursy under Ange, we'll be all right.
And that question was brought to you by Reyes 707 cards. Got a nice little Spurs profile picture there. So I think you and him would get along well, Mr. Soraya. Last question brought to you by Tommy Tran Pro. Who would win in a street fight between all of you? No rules. I'm scrapping all of you motherfuckers.
There's no way. There's no way.
No way.
Absolutely
There's
scrapping
no
all of you.
way.
I'm going for Steve first.
Yeah, we got to take Steve out first.
Taking Steve out.
I wrestled in high school.
I'm
Swatch.
taking. He ain't got.
Yeah, that was
Very
high school,
flexible.
Steve.
Very flexible.
High school.
I'm
is the
also
key
clocking in at
part
like
there.
260 these days. I can just sit on all 3 of you.
I don't know, but you put Dapper on a twofer, he'll just go nuts on you, like
No, but
relentless.
just
You know
hold
what
the
I mean?
sign up to him. We'll start reading it like nonstop. And just,
Nah, boys. Real talk. I'm actually taking y'all to the woodshed. That's real talk.
The woodshed.
We
The
might have to
old
do a
woodshed,
little
as Dapper would
little
say.
pitch masters like boxing game.
I
or
swear on
something the match.
everything. I talked about that in Steve's stream, where no one would want it, but it would be hilarious if we had a whatnot like boxing event, Steve versus Yoga. Do you know how electric that would be as the headline, bro?
Man. Jesus, that would put fannies in the seats for sure.
And that's the episode. Pitch Masters episode 3. If you loved what you watched here and you love us 4 beautiful, beautiful souls up here, then please do like and subscribe to the video. We will be back next Wednesday. Can't wait to see you guys then. Peace.
Peace.
Peace.